Okay, so good afternoon and welcome back. And does it feel nice to be back? It's been far too long. I'm down in the kitchen, so you can see what we did last time with the plastering up to there. I now need to finish that. I still have a few bags of plaster left. And then once I've done the first layer everywhere down here, I'm going to put some planks up and try and get that bit of wall and this bit of wall done, which is going to be making a little window there, so that everything will have its first layer of plaster. Hopefully, well, probably not this trip, but hopefully very soon I shall try and come back out on my own. At the moment I'm out with the family, so as always a little bit less gets done there, but it doesn't look bad. There are plenty of marks which come through, but as we tested last time, on the second round, it doesn't come through anymore, but it doesn't sound bad. It's certainly stuck to the wall. It's the right type of plaster, and we've had no water in. It's now February, and as you can tell, winter is over. So yeah, it was a very short winter this year. Even in Austria, we've had very little snow. The ski season's been pretty poor, but the weather here is just absolutely amazing. I don't even know why I'm wearing a jumper. So I'm out for a few days, not for very long, and I'm going to try and make sure that I can come out a little bit more regularly, because this is never going to get done otherwise. But there have been some other hiccups and obviously, a lot of work. So there we go. I'm here now. So the first thing I've been doing is basically just taking everything that was in winter storage in the kitchen out and setting it back up on the terrace, so that I have at least a little bit of space to work. Still have the pew to move out of the way, so I can get on and do that and give the cement mixer a proper clean, because I left in a massive hurry last time and didn't clean it as well as I should have done, which is the same for my box as well. So I'll give that a knockout with the hammer, and then I'll get a mix up, and I'll show you basically everything else that's happened over the last few months. So yeah, here we are, and I'm very happy, very glad to be back, and to be back with all of you. Okay, so it's the next morning, and I managed to empty out most of the kitchen up there yesterday, and have a bit of a tidy up, and I thought I'd show you what else has happened in the village since. So, my house next door, nothing has happened, no news. I've written her a couple of times and she's sort of avoiding the question, so there we go. But as soon as water gets to the limit of the top of my roof, I'm going to make sure that something is done, because I've tried everything, or I've tried as hard as I can. However, on the other side of the road, if you remember, there was a ruin of a barn here, barn, it was in fact an old school that closed in 83, and that has now been knocked down and will, I'm hoping this isn't the finished product, be turned into a parking spot. So the path down is still there, and this arch, which is in fact a terrace that belongs to that building behind, was left, and the arch on the other side was left, and in the middle they knocked everything down because it was dangerous and it was starting to fall down, and they knocked down half of this wall as well, which was starting to fall down, and it looks like they've put some cement on top of it just to stop infiltration. And down here you can see the old cellars and the old schoolrooms. Let me turn the camera around. So those would have been classrooms, and then cellars below. Yeah, it looks like those are old stone steps. I don't think they did I hope it's not finished, because I don't think they did a spectacularly great job so far. They've just knocked it down and pushed it together, and I wouldn't think that's useful for parking a car. However, it does mean that you can now actually drive up through the village without scraping your wing mirrors, because the narrowest point was here. That was the corner So that was a very narrow bit of road, and if you look on the old videos you'll see. So there we go, that's what's happened here. When I got the quad out yesterday, I got annoyed with myself again over the state of the gate here. So I'm now going to go and have a quick look to see if I can find some bits of wood and quickly make a replacement for that. Okay, so I've picked up some old bits of wood that were part of an old bed that was abandoned in the house, and I found 2 hinges. So I'm just going to make a very simple Z gate. Nothing complicated at all. I've got the first bit, which is 135. Oops, everything's on a bit of a hill here. And that should just basically go in here and screw on. I'm going to keep the hinge bits, the metal hinge bits on the outside, because this is going to open outwards because of the slope up inwards. So it can open out here without any difficulty. This is not blocking the road. So I'm going to get a second one of these. I'll try and find a second one of these. I might have to go and source some more wood. But if I can get 2 of those together and then a Z across, that'll be our basic frame. Oh, look at the hair. Okay, well the next bit is quite a big bit, so I'm just going to unscrew these bits of metal. Still, it's all recycling. And then I'll cut some planks out of it with a circular saw. Yeah, so that should be fine. I mean, it really can't be any worse than what was there, to be honest. You have the cat over there in the background. Meow. There it is. Okay, well now I've got my 2 same length bits. I'm going to mount the hinges on them with these coach bolts. And then we want to make a square. That's the first thing to do, is to make a perfect square, or a perfect-ish square. And then put a diagonal across to support. So I'm going to get these 2 set up, and then we'll measure once they're both hung. See, from there to there, we'll measure that and get a vertical in there. And there we go, we've got the 2 horizontals in. Obviously they sag a little bit because these are old, very old. I'm not going to change the hook part of the hinge. They're probably been there for 100 odd years and they'll stay there for another 100. But what I will do now is, I have to get rid of that, but I'm going to go and get to spirit level. I'm going to get them straight and sort of chalk them so I can measure the exact distance from there to there, and then cut exactly 2 of those so that we build our square. And there we go. They're both now horizontal. It's because nothing in this village is flat. Nothing ever looks horizontal. That wall there is obviously not. But my spirit level seems quite happy with that, so I'm going to go with the spirit level today. Right, go and get my measurer. And there we go, a square. I haven't screwed that in yet on that side because I only had 2 brackets. But I'm going to get some more metal work and then screw that together. And then we'll get a diagonal, which should push the weight from there up into the top corner and stop it sagging. At least that's the theory. Okay, so as you can tell, some of my bits of wood aren't square. I'm not sure which ones, but I'm going to cover it with something that'll hold it together, and it's pretty good. I mean, it's pretty sturdy. It's certainly much better than it was. So I need to drill a hole for the bolt and then find some old scrap wood to tidy it up a bit, and then maybe give it a lick of paint, and there we go. So that was a couple of hours this morning, worth doing. Okay, well, those of you who follow me on Instagram would have seen I've just had the first barbecue of the season, which is bad for the 15th of February. And now I'm back down here and I'm just putting up sheet wood with my little stapler and just stapling that on, and then I shall go and get a proper paint and paint it blue. And I think it looks fine. I mean, it's not amazing, but I think it looks fine. And there we go, all stapled up. Here's my blue. I'm just going to give it a quick lick of blue so that it matches the rest of the house, and I think it'll look great. There's not much behind there, it's the quad, and it'll probably be eventually somewhere for my wonderful wife to paint. But it's tidier. I quite like that. So there we go, let me get on with some blue. There we go, I think that looks quite smart. I'm going to let it dry for a little bit, and then I'm going to screw the bolt on. It doesn't need to be lockable or anything. There's nothing, well, there's no one here that would steal anything. So So yeah, you can always see it's drying. It's the fresh wood is absorbing quite a lot of the paint. So that's the dark bit. But yeah, looks smart. Let's have a look from up here. Yeah, it looks 1,000 times better than it did. So that's great. Yeah, just tidy everything up and that'll be not a proper day's work, but a bit of a day's work. And there is the finished product with the lock. So yeah, good improvement. So that's that for that day's work. And back to getting on. You know, I really wanted that kitchen to be done by late spring, and that's sort of drifting away from me now. Unfortunately, I know these videos are getting further and further apart, and I hate it. And I hate not being here as much as I used to. And I'm working so hard for that to be temporary. But so much has changed in the last year that it's not that easy. So there you go. I come here as much as I can, and when I do, I will always make videos, and I will do my little projects. But the big project of the kitchen, again, you know, that's there is still some money that needs to be spent, and I just don't have that right now. So there you go. I'm going to leave this video there for today. I'll be back either tomorrow or the day after with some plastering and some kitchening, because I do still have some plastering. I still have a lot of materials here, but I can't buy a kitchen, and I need to plan the kitchen quite far before I start putting water and electricity into the walls. So it's more plastering for now. Anyway, I hope you're all well. I'm always so grateful for all of your comments and encouragement, and you know, it's helped me along the way. It's now February 2024, so the first time I ever saw this house was now 5 years ago, and we bought it about 4 years ago. So in 4 years, a lot has been done, and I'm really happy about that. But yeah, I just need to keep going, never give up. And I shall work my time out that I shall be here as often as is possible. Until then, thank you very much for watching. Thank you for everything. I hope you're well. Take care, and bye-bye for now.